I hope you can hear me. So, as you know, today we are going to start a new demo on MySQL. Today is our first class. So, let me give introduction about myself, and then I'll start explaining about or giving about SQL introduction today. Okay. I'm Divya. I have about 8+ years of experience into data analytics. I completed my master's in data science and I have experience in teaching all the data science subjects like SQL, Python, Power BI, Tableau, statistics, and machine learning. Okay, so with DurgaSoft, currently I'm working with MySQL and Tableau. As you know, the MySQL duration is 35 days. Okay, starting from today. And these are all the course content which we are going to cover in our course. I will show or explain you about the course content also in a while, but before that, let's try to understand about the what is SQL. Let me give you an introduction to databases and SQL today. Okay. SQL. So first of all, before understanding about SQL, let's talk a little bit about data, right? Because SQL is all about data, right? How we are going to maintain the data in the databases, we will learn by using SQL as a language. So data, importance of data. We all know that nowadays we are generating lots and lots of data, right? We use many social media applications like maybe Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, right? By using all those apps also, we are generating data only, correct? Especially from the demonetization take place. What happened at that point of time? Suddenly we all started doing digital payments, right? On the overnight, we started doing digital payments. By doing digital payments in the sense we started using some applications like maybe Paytm, Phone Pay, Google Pay, correct? We started doing digital payments, and by doing that also we are nothing but we are just generating some data, correct? And especially from the COVID time, everything became online, correct? We started doing online shopping. We started seeing many OTT platforms. We are using many OTT platforms. We are using many social media applications. Even we are doing work from homes. Even today also we connected in online to learn something, right? Basically, we are generating lots and lots of data by using all these things, by doing all these things. Okay, so as we are generating this much of data, every company today, what they are doing, they are analyzing their data so that they can come to some conclusion that how are their sales, maybe whether if they are if they are facing any profits or losses. If they are facing any loss, what is the reason behind their loss, like that, correct? What measures they should take to increase their profits. So to analyze all these things, they are analyzing, or they are coming to these conclusions with the help of data only, right? That is the importance of data nowadays. Not only one field, what not only one domain. Okay, data analytics or data science is one such domain. It is useful for, it is used in every single domain. It can be banking, it can be e-commerce, it can be finance, it can be social media, anywhere, everywhere, even in the medical field, everywhere data science and data analytics is useful. And SQL is a, I can say it's a kind of backbone for data science. Not only data science, for the complete IT industry, SQL is something like a backbone. Wherever you go, whatever job roles, not only data science, if it is full stack, if it is testing, whatever it is, you need to have a sound knowledge on SQL, correct? So let's try to understand about database. The reason why I said all these examples in the sense, uh, as we are generating lots and lots of data, definitely there should be something which can able to store all the data and where we can able to manage all the data, right? For example, Amazon, we all know about this. If we order any product from the Amazon, definitely the data will be generated, right? The data, something like order ID, right? Customer details. Suppose customer name, customer address, his place, his phone number, his Gmail ID, correct? And about the product, product details, the price of the product, maybe the seller name, right? Vendor details, like that. Each and every detail they will store, right? This is nothing but the data. Whenever I order something, suppose in Amazon, we know on daily basis, we can imagine how many orders they will get, right? So as they are generating that much of data, definitely there should be one such system where they can store the data and they can maintain the data easily, right? That is nothing but database. Okay. I can say database is nothing but it is a collection of data. Okay. Collection of data where we will store and where we will manage the data perfectly. Now, what is SQL? As we all know, the full form of SQL is nothing but structured query language, right? But what is SQL definition? Before explaining SQL definition for you like this, let me take one example and let me try to explain you so that everyone, even from the non-IT background, can able to understand or can able to relate the things very easily. Okay. I hope you can hear me and I hope it is clear for you, whatever I'm saying, right? You can unmute yourself and you can respond, or else even you can, type in the chat box. Perfect. Done. So let's take one example. Consider this is one school. Okay. Maybe I'm talking about any particular class, that is 10th A section. Okay. So in this school, in each and every class they will maintain some registers. If you remember, in our childhood also we used to have some registers in our class where they used to maintain some attendance kind of thing, right? Here also I'm taking the same example. They are maintaining some registers in which they will store student ID or roll number. Okay. Student name maybe. Okay. Student attendance or student marks, something like this. They are storing all the details inside a register, that is a kind of book. Okay. Physical notebook. So they're storing the details like this. But one day the principal of that particular school, he wanted to analyze the performance of the students. He wanted to see the attendance of the students and the marks of the students. He wanted to understand the performance of the students. And what he did, he called his peon and he said to his peon that go to 10th A section and bring the register for me. Then peon understood. He went to 10th A, he brought the register and gave it to the principal. Okay. If we are storing the data in the form of registers, this is what happened. Now, imagine instead of registers, okay, suppose this is a big university, something like JNTU University. We have so many thousands and thousands of students here. So instead of storing data in the form of physical, registers in each and every class, they are storing the data in the form of database. Okay, actually, we have so many ways to store. Either here in this example, they are storing in the form of registers. Suppose if they store in the form of computers, right, inside computers also they can store in the form of Excel file or text file. Now whatever I'm using, that is an Excel file, right? So like this in Excel file or text file also they can save. But instead of using this particular Excel file, they directly wanted to use, as this is a big database, we have some drawbacks. We can store the data in Excel file, but we have some drawbacks with Excel whenever we are trying to, store the big data, which I'll explain going forward. What are the limitations and how we overcome that limitations in SQL. Okay. So now directly they are storing the data in the form of database. This is database. They are storing the data in database. Okay. Now, whenever principal wanted to see the performance of the students, however, in the previous example, what he did, he called his peon and he said to his peon that go and bring the register, right? So definitely, while to convey his message, he might use some language here, right? It can be English, it can be Hindi, some language. Principal might use some language, then only peon understand what principal want and he brought the register for him, right? In the same way, if we are saving data inside database and whenever principal wanted to see the data which is stored inside the database, here also he should use one language called as SQL to communicate with the database. Okay, whatever principal wanted to see, he needs to communicate that by using SQL as a language. Then only database understand what principal want and database will give that particular data. Am I clear? So with this I can say SQL is nothing but it is a language which is used to communicate with the database, right? So SQL is nothing but it is a language which is used to communicate with the database. Okay, just give me a minute here. Please hold on. Thank you for being on hold. So let me continue. As I said, SQL is nothing but it is a language which is used to communicate with the database. Okay. I hope I'm clear about what is database and what is SQL. Now let's try to understand that what is the difference between that is what is MySQL. I'm saying that we are going to learn MySQL, right? That what is SQL, what is MySQL, we have some doubt, right? So SQL is nothing but it is a language, okay? SQL is a universal declared language which is used to communicate with the database. All the concepts are of SQL only. But what is MySQL in the sense? We have some tools in the market like MySQL, Oracle SQL, SQL Server, okay, PostgreSQL, like that we are having some tools in the market. MySQL and Oracle SQL both are the products of Oracle. SQL Server is a product from Microsoft. Like that, we have some companies in the market and they are having their own tools to use SQL. Okay, SQL is a language only. All the concepts belongs to SQL only, but use that particular language. We are taking the help of any of the tools. Okay, here we are particularly using MySQL as a tool because it is an open source platform. Okay, it is an open source platform. That means open source platform in the sense it is freely available for everyone, and that is the reason nowadays most of the companies are preferring to use MySQL. Okay, that is the reason we are also learning MySQL today. Okay, and SQL follows DBMS concept. Okay, or else I can say RDBMS concept. RDBMS is nothing but relational database management system. Before explaining this, let me tell you one more thing I forgot. So here I'm saying SQL is a language, so that by using that we'll communicate with the database, right? So database. So first we'll create the database. Inside the database, we will create tables, and inside the tables, we will store the data. Okay. How we will create the table? Let's see. Suppose I'm writing here one table, that is employees. I wanted to store employees data, so I'm trying to create employees table. So this is my table name, that is employees. Inside employees, I'll store some data like maybe employee ID, employee name, salary, date of joining. Okay. Now let me enter some data. I'll enter some data randomly. Give me a second. So now this employees is our table name. Vertical thing. Okay, whatever we can see vertically, that is nothing but column. Horizontal thing is called as a row. Okay. Table is always a collection of rows and columns. Okay. So as I said, column is nothing but this one. Now in this particular table, I'm having four columns, that is employee ID, employee name, salary, date of joining. Four columns I'm having, and two rows. This is my first row of data. This is my second row of data. Okay, like that. It's a collection of rows and columns. Okay, table is a collection of rows and columns. Like this, we will store the data inside the table. Okay, so in database, basically, we'll create tables, and inside the tables only we will store the data. Okay. And I'm saying that SQL always follow RDBMS, right? RDBMS is nothing but relational database management system. That is nothing but, as I said, we always store data in the form of tables, right? So if our tables are related to each other, if the tables are related to each other, then we will say that is following RDBMS technique. Okay. So here by default in SQL, how many tables we will store also? All the tables should be related to each other. Okay. Remember this point. We will learn about this point in detail going forward. Okay. This is about the introduction of SQL. I hope I'm clear. Perfect. If that is so, I'll let's try to open MySQL and let's see the user interface of MySQL. Okay. So once we are done with demo classes, I'll show you the installation process of MySQL. Okay. After installing, whenever we open the application, we can able to see like this. Here we have local instance. I need to click on that. So let me close some files here. Give me a second. Maybe I'll close everything. So yeah. This is a user interface of MySQL where we can see local instance. Okay. We have schemas here, and below schemas, you can see something. This is nothing but the list of databases available for me. In my system, whatever databases list is there, that one, all the databases name I can see here. Okay. By default, we will have only sys database whenever you install your software. you can able to see only sys database, but after that whenever you create any database like this, you can able to see the database, that particular database name. Okay, this is nothing but information system, information section, whatever you select. Suppose I am selecting inside DurgaSoft. DurgaSoft is one or database name. Inside that, in every database we'll have four sections, that is tables, views, store procedures, and functions. Okay, currently we are discussing about tables. Going forward we will see about store procedures and views as well. Okay, now tables are there, I'm expanding them. These are all the tables which I have. Suppose if I'm selecting employees here, I can able to see the information of employees here at the bottom. Table name is employees, columns, we am having four columns, and the data types. Like this, all the information we can able to see in the information section. And this is a place where we will open SQL files and we will write the queries. Okay, so to open that SQL file we have two options. First one, this is menu bar, and this is the toolbar. Right, in the menu bar I need to click on file. Okay, new query tab, then one SQL file will be open for me. Okay, file, new query tab, or else even I have a shortcut, that is first icon in the toolbar, this one. Okay, so if I'm clicking on this particular thing also, I can able to open one more SQL file. Okay, so like that we can able to open the SQL files and we need to write the queries here. Okay, so and at the bottom this is nothing but the output section. After executing our queries we can able to see the output here at the bottom. Okay, action output here, output section. And within this particular files we have some options, right? First option is nothing but, suppose we will write some queries. After writing the queries, after writing something, whenever we wanted to save this file in our system, we will click the second option, that is save button. Right, the same save button wherever, I mean we can observe the same even in Excel files and text files like that. Right, the same save button, by you clicking on this it will allow me to save that file in my laptop. Okay, and if I wanted to open already saved file, I need to click on this first folder icon. I'm just clicking on this folder icon. You can see I can able to open any of this. Suppose I'm just opening one file here. See, like this we can able to open any of the files by clicking this option. Okay, this is to open the already saved file. This option is to save the save our work, and this one is, it's nothing but whenever we want to execute we need to click on this button. Okay, after writing all the queries we need to execute to get the output. Right, this is the execute button. Now let's see, I'll write some points here before understanding. Let's create our database first, but before creating the database let's try to see some points. Okay, SQL is, as I said, SQL is nothing but it is used to, is a language which is used to communicate with the database. Right, SQL is, especially MySQL is case insensitive. That is, we can use uppercase or lowercase. Okay, no problem. That is case insensitive. We can use any case. It can be uppercase or it can be lowercase, no problem. Okay, and we will have something called as comments here. In every programming language, it can be Java, C, C++, everywhere we have something called as comments. In the same way, in SQL also, we have comments. That is, whatever we will write inside comments that are non-executable, it won't execute. Okay, whatever, if we don't want to execute, we will mention them inside comments. If you observe here, I'm using some symbols before writing. Right, that is nothing but comments, because this is just a textual thing, I don't want to execute them. Right, so we have two types of comments. One is single line comment. So to use a single line comment we have two symbols, either this symbol, okay, whatever I used previously, or else hash. If I use hash also, and if I write inside it anything, that will be non-executable. Okay, like that. And we have multi-line comments as well. Okay, multi-line comments. It's nothing but the symbols. I can write here how much I want, I can write whatever I want, I can write. This is the start of the comment, hash and star. In between, we can write any number of lines, and this is the end of the comment, star and hash, right? Whatever we will write inside, we can write it in, as a paragraph, as multiple lines we can write, and whatever we write inside it, that will be non-executable. Okay, that is about single line and multi-line comments. Okay, now let's create a database. So first of all, here in SQL, for each and every concept to do anything, we will have something called syntax. Okay, syntax is nothing but we can understand it as a rule or a kind of formula where which we need to follow to do the particular task. Okay, so first let's create our own database. Okay, just give me a second. Okay, let's create our database. And as I said, for everything we will have a syntax, right? So for creating database also we have a syntax, and the syntax is create database name. Okay, let's do that. Create database. I'm giving our database name as SQL morning. Okay, so like this, if you observe here, this is a query. Now I want to execute this. That is the reason I didn't mention that inside a comments. Normally I wrote, right? So let me select this. Let me execute. This is the execute button. As I said, I'm executing this. Now you can see at the bottom in the output section, you can able to see the output here. If you can able to see like this green color tick mark, that means it is executed successfully, right? If you get any error, you can able to see red color cross mark, and we can able to see that error message. Okay, now the database is created. To see that particular SQL morning database name in this list, what we need to do, let me actually, okay, so to see that particular SQL morning in this particular list, what we need to do, we have a refresh button here. Besides schemas, we have a refresh button. We need to refresh once, then we can able to see that SQL morning database here, right? After creating everything, we need to refresh once, then only it will reflect. Okay, as you can see, I'm expanding the database, and as I said, we have 4 sections in it: tables, views, stored procedures, and functions. For now, we are concentrating on tables. Going forward, we'll see all the other things also, right? So this is how we are going to create the database. Okay, now after creating database, or every time whenever we wanted to use any database, we need to activate the database. Okay, we need to activate the database, because why we will activate the database here, in the sense we have so many database list here, right? So every time whenever we are using database, we need to tell to the SQL that what database we are going to use, or else SQL will confuse. Whenever we execute any query, SQL will get confused which database we are using and under which database it should be executed, right? So to avoid that confusion, we need to activate the database. To activate also, we have one syntax, that is use database name. Okay, this is the syntax. Now let me write it. Use our database name is SQL morning, right? That is what I wrote. Now let's select this and let's execute. See, it got executed, and if we observe, now SQL morning database is in activation. That is, it got highlighted, right? We can see it in the dark black color now. That means this database is currently in activation. Now going forward, whatever queries we will execute, that queries will be executed under this database only, right? Every time whenever we are going to work, we need to activate the database. Of course, in real time we will connect to only one database, that is our client's database, so there no need of activating, but here in learning process we need to activate the database. Okay, so we created the database, we activated the database. Now let's create a table. Okay, as I said, we will create a database. Inside the database we'll create tables, right? That is what we are doing now. So creating the table, to create the table we'll have a create, we need to use create command. Okay, the syntax will be create table, table name, then we need to give parentheses, that is brackets. Inside the brackets we need to mention column names. Here for example, I use 4 columns, right? Like that, how many columns I want, that many column names I can use. Suppose column name column 1. Okay, for that particular column I need to give data type. What is data type, I'll explain you in a while. Second column and data type, like that, how many columns I want, that many column names I can define here. Okay, now let's see. Suppose let's create the same table, employees table, create table employees. Okay, in that same columns I'll give again employee ID is my column, comma employee name, comma salary, comma date of joining. 4 columns I wanted to give, so I gave the columns. But here I'm saying for each and every column we will give the data type as well, right? So what is data type, let's see. Suppose I'm opening my Excel file, right? Here you can see I have some columns. For example, in salary column, instead of 60,000 here, suppose I gave hello. Or instead of date here, suppose I gave something like this, it is accepting. But actually this is wrong data, right? Whenever we are trying to give any wrong data or irrelevant data, actually our system should throw us an error. It should say me that this is salary column, you are supposed to enter only, you can enter only numbers, you are entering some textual data which is wrong. Or this is date column, you need to enter dates only, you are entering something else which is wrong. Like that, it should actually display me, it should give me errors. Instead of throwing error, Excel is actually accepting whatever I take, whatever I give, right? This is one of the biggest drawback of Excel. It, when whatever I enter, it will accept irrespective of whether it is correct or wrong. It won't throw me, it won't stop me in entering any wrong data, it won't throw me any errors, right? Whenever we are maintaining large volumes of data, if we are using this kind of systems, then it will be a problem for us, because knowingly or unknowingly we may enter wrong data sometimes, right? Whenever we are entering some wrong data, it should alert us, it should send us error stating that is wrong, correct? That kind of robust systems we need. And this is one of the reason why databases came into existence. Likewise, we have so many disadvantages with Excel file, where by using database we overcome that disadvantages. Okay, so in that, this is the one of the reason. So in database, to overcome this problem, we introduce the concept called as data types. Data types is nothing but we will define some data types for each and every column, and this data type will only decide what kind of value I can enter in any particular column. Okay, so the definition is that data type will only decide what kind of value we can enter inside any column. Okay, for example, we have some data types in SQL. Let's see that data types now. Types of data types. Okay, first is numerical data types, and the second one is character data types, character or string data type. Third one is date data type. Okay, so in numerical data type, it is further divided into int and float. In char or string data type, we have char and varchar. In date data type, we have date and date time data type. Let me show you one figure here. This is about data types. Okay, as in numeric data type, character or string data type, date and time data type. Numeric data type again divides into int and float. Basically, in integer, we can able to store normal numbers. If we want to store decimal values like this 1.2, 2.4, then we need to use float. Okay, in float, it will accept normal numbers also. It will accept normal numbers also. It will accept decimal values also inside float. Okay, whenever we may think that we can get some decimal values in that particular column, we will define float for that. Okay, so character or string data type, again we have two types. One is char and one is varchar. What is this? I'll explain you in a while. Okay, what is the difference between char and varchar, we will see. Next we have date and date time. Whenever I wanted to store date, I'll use date data type. Along with the date, if I wanted to store time, I'll use date time data type. Okay, so for date data type, always we need to use this format. Only this format is acceptable. That is first year, then month, then date. Only this format is acceptable. If we use any other format, it won't take. It will throw us error. Okay, for date time, as I said, along with the date, if I wanted to store time, then we will use this date time data type. And the format for this is year, month, date, and then hour, minute, second. Okay, like this. This is the format for date time data type. Okay, and for character data type, one thing understand here, one thing I need to say, we will define a size also. Okay, whenever we are defining character data type, we will define size also. Let me explain you about this. Before that, as we understood what is data types and how many data types are there mainly, let's try to use these data types in this particular table. Okay, as I said, for each and every column we need to define data type, right? So employee id, definitely I need to store numbers here. Employee ids will be in the form of numbers, so I'll define int as a data type, right? Employee name, it is a character data type. In character, I need to use char or varchar. For now, I'm using char. Okay, so I'm defining char like this, and I need to define some size. That is what I said. Okay, I said whenever we are using character data type, we will define size also, right? That is what I did. I defined char, and after char within the brackets I need to define size. This means I'm allocating 10 bytes of memory for this particular employee name column. That is, I can enter up to 10 characters only in the employee name. If I'm entering 11 or 12 characters, it will throw me error stating, the data is too long to enter. Okay, so like that, whenever we are defining any character data type, we need to define size also, so that we are reserving some bytes of memory for that particular column name. Okay, and next, salary, obviously I will define float, maybe some, because sometimes we may get some decimal values also as a in the salary column. Next, date of joining, I'll give date as a data type. Okay, like this we will define column names and data types. Let me select now. Let's execute. A table got created, right? Like this we will create the table. Now let me insert some data. Okay, now table structure is created. We gave the table a name and we gave the structure of the table, that is column names. We need to insert the data. We need to enter the data by using insert command. Okay, so we will use insert command for that, and the command and the syntax is insert into table name values, and we'll give the values inside the brackets. Let's see. Let me write this at the bottom. So I'll write it as insert into table name. Table name is employees. Okay, I'll give values, and within the values, we need to give the values in the same sequence, of the employees. First, employee ID I need to give. That is what I'll give. I'll give it as 1. Okay, employee name, I'll give it as like this. Salary maybe 50,000. Okay, date of joining I'm giving like this. As I said, this format only we need to use first year, then month, then date, right? Like this. But if you observe, I am keeping single quotes for characters and dates, right? We need to do that. Either we can use single quotes or double quotes for characters and dates. For numbers, normally we can give But for characters and dates, we will use single quotes or double quotes. Okay. So what we did here within the brackets, I defined the data and I'm using commas here. Here commas are separating each column. SQL will understand this is first column data, second column, third column, fourth column. Once I'm done with entering one complete row, I need to close the bracket and then I'll give a comma and then I'll start entering second row details. Okay, like this. Okay, now again I'll keep a comma and I'll enter third row details. Let me enter third row also quickly. Okay, like this I entered something and let me execute this data. We need to select, we need to execute. It got executed successfully. Okay, now we created the data, we inserted the data, right? To see the data, now to see the data we need to use select command. Okay, so select is used to display the data. Display the data. Okay, the syntax will be select star from table name. Here star is nothing but it is, we will call it as asterisk. Okay, that is whenever we wanted to display, use it to display complete data. Whenever we wanted to see the complete data, we will use asterisk like this. Okay, so how I need to write select star from table name, that is employees. Now if I select this and if I execute, we can able to see the complete table whatever we created just now, right? Column names, 4 columns we created and 3 rows we created, right? Like this we can able to see the output. And if I wanted to see any particular column name, suppose I wanted to see only employee name comma salary, then I'll write like this. Instead of asterisk I need to give that column names here. Okay, select employee name comma salary from employees. If I select, I can able to see that particular data only. If we use asterisk, complete data. If you want to see any particular data, that column names we need to write. Okay, this is how we will create the database. We will activate the database. We will create the table. Okay, we will insert the data and we display the data. Okay, I hope it is clear. So let me quickly show you the course content which we are going to follow in this per complete course. As you know, the duration is of 35 days. Okay, introduction to database and SQL, which we done today. Limitations of Excel file, maybe in couple of days I'll explain this. Creation of database and tables, we already finished to some extent. MySQL installation, once you are done with demo classes, I'll show you this process. Then data types in SQL, I already explained today only. Right, next SQL commands or sublanguages. In SQL, we have 5 types of sublanguages. Okay, that is DDL, DML, DCL, TCL, and DQL. In each of this sublanguage, again, we are having so many commands in it. Okay, we will learn each and every command very detailedly. And then integrity constraints. We have something like some keys here, some integrity constraints like for primary key, foreign key, okay, unique constraint, not null constraint, check constraint, default constraint. All the constraints we will learn very practically along with the examples. Okay, so up to here I'll use normal tables like employees table, students table to understand. These are the basics of SQL. Once we are done with this, the speciality of my course is that I will give a real-time project for you, real-time database for you, which is a kind of movies database. It is a kind of OTT platform database. Okay, so I'll give you that database for you. I'll show you how you need to, you know, restore that database into your systems, and we will use this particular movies database only going forward to learn all the concepts. Because once you join in any company, once you started working, you need to deal with large volumes of data, right? Here, if you just learning the complete data with this, like this sample 2 3 rows of tables, instead of learning like that, if you learn the complete concepts by using a big data, that is large volumes of data where you can able to see some thousands of rows and so many columns, then you will get used to it, right? I can say you will get some hands-on experience in uh, you know you can understand how to deal with the database and how to handle the database, right? So here I'll give you that particular database. Next, we will start from here. We will learn each and every concept by using this database only. Okay. So next concept is operators and clauses. Very important concept. We have some clauses here like where clause, order by clause. Okay. Distinct clause, limit clause. Every clause we will understand, and we have some operators here like and operator, or operator, not operator, range operator, that is between operator, membership operator, that is in operator, and we have like operator. Okay, like operator, that is nothing but which we will use to find the patterns of data. Whenever we want to search the data in particular patterns, then we will use like operator. Inside like we have some wildcards. We will understand each and every concept by solving many examples on the movies database. Okay. Next, functions. We have these types of functions like number functions, character functions, date functions, aggregate functions. Inside each function, we have so many functions. Okay, each and everything we will learn. Next, joins. I can say joins is a it's a backbone for complete SQL. Okay, we will in real time we will deal mostly with joins only. We have so many types of joins like inner join, left join, right join. Okay, full join, self join, cross join, natural join, each and every join type we will learn practically by solving so many examples on movies database. Not only that, okay, I'll give you some assignment questions on joins, so that, as I said, joins is very important. We will use them in real time very frequently. So that is the reason only for this particular concept, I'll give some assignment questions. If you wish, you can able to, you can solve that particular question so that you can understand whether you can able to solve them or not. I'll give some time, and after that, I'll discuss that questions in class so that you can check. Okay. Next, regular expression. This is also use it to search for the patterns of data. We have so many anchors in regular expression. We will see about it also very practically. Next, group by clause, having clause. These are also clauses only, but to understand these clauses, we need to learn joins. That is the reason after joins, I kept this group by clause, having clause, and using aggregation inside group by. Okay. Next, subqueries. One more important topic. We have so many types of subqueries like correlated subquery, non-correlated subquery, single row subquery, multi-row subquery. We will learn all of them practically. Next, normalization. One more important concept. Okay. So basically, we have denormalized data. How we will convert denormalized data into normalization? What are all the disadvantages we have with denormalization data? To convert denormalized data into perfect normalized form, we need to use some normal forms like 1NF, 2NF, 3NF. We will learn each and everything. I can I can say very confidently that in all the other institutes they might explain this concept, but they will give you only theory notes. But here I'll take one real time real time denormalized data, that is sales data, and I'll show you how we are going to convert it by using all these forms practically into normalized form. Okay. Next, TR diagrams, views, important concept, index, again important concept, temporary tables. One more important concept, by using this actually we can able to remove duplicate data. CT is one more advanced concept which is called as common table expression. Next, store procedures. In real time we will use store procedures a lot, by using which we can able to do our work faster. Okay. Next, windows functions. Nowadays in all the interviews you can expect this question. Previously I also didn't include this concept in my course, but upon students request I included windows function also. Here we have 5 types of functions. Okay. Rank, dense rank, row number, lag and lead. I'll explain all the functions detailing with examples. At the end we will solve some interview questions also. Okay. So this is about the course content which we are going to cover in this 35 days. If you learn this complete course, uh, you know you will get so much of hands-on experience, because we will use a real-time database here, and you can get an experience up to, I mean, you can manage up to four years of experience by learning this particular 4 to 5 years of experience by learning this particular course. Okay, this is about the course content. As you know, duration is only 35 days and course fees is only 4,000. Okay, and our admin people already shared the details in the chat box. You can just go through that. Yeah, sorry, 3,000 rupees. It's not 4,000. Actually, for the evening batches, we are charging 4,000. As this is morning batch, it is 3,000 only. Okay. As I got used to it, I said that 4,000, but it's 3,000. For evening batches, we are charging 4,000. Okay. So this is the details. You can just check. Okay. If you have difference between MySQL, MS SQL, respective. No, all the queries will be same, Raj. Okay. If you learn MySQL, you can use all these queries in SQL Server, MS SQL, wherever you want, you can use. There won't be any difference. The concept is same. Okay. The only difference is that we have two types of databases actually. In just a second, I'll explain that also. So I said Oracle, SQL Server, like that. We have so many databases, right? We have basically something called as SQL and we have no SQL. Okay. Whatever tools comes under SQL, it will follow RDBMS. Okay. And in NoSQL, we have something called as MongoDB. This is different. You cannot use this concepts in MongoDB because that is completely different. But all the tools, whatever comes under SQL, in all that tools, you can use this concepts. Okay. No worries. If you have any other questions, we can discuss in the tomorrow's class. Okay. All right, guys. If that is so, we will meet in the tomorrow's session. Okay. Bye.